The views and opinions expressed on this program do not reflect the company, owners, management, staff, clients, or partners.
Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. It's the Daily Hour.
ChatGPT did become the world's most downloaded non-gaming app.
Literally the job of everyone in government to address the media and the public.
What are your thoughts, audience? What are your thoughts on Zandy Silva as the deputy PLP leader?
A community that can't feed itself is a community that doing.
What you may not know, though, is that Bermuda, we have a connection with Epstein, too.
Things that people are doing right, the youth are doing right, that is not being advertised enough.
When you see your access to U.S. dollars disappear, that's when you have a problem.
If you've got a town in the UK with a similar sized population, this place absolutely outshines it.
It's Tuesday, the 25th day of August, 2026. Welcome to Bermuda's Daily Talk Show. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindos, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. I'm Jamel Hartman. How's everyone feeling today? Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Hopefully you all are doing extremely well and enjoying the second day of the traditional work week. Woke up excited and happy and you are ready to go. Folks, it's going to be an awesome day today, isn't it? It's going to be an awesome day today. You know, I told you I didn't have really like a great weekend sports-wise because I tried to do the Manchester United thing again. But I just decided I'm going to ask all of you, I'm going to ask people throughout social media. I think I'm ready to support an NFL team. Like all these years, I've never had an NFL team. I just like traditionally hate watched like the New England Patriots, or I liked the Cowboys back in the day, then I traditionally hate watched them. So this year I'm going to be looking, I'm a free agent. I'm looking to support an NFL team, but it can't be the Patriots, it can't be the Cowboys, and it can't be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. All right. So yeah. James Burgess says, good morning to the Daily Hour team show. Have a great day. We've got Suzanne Ingham also says, good morning, Jamel and TDH family. It's an awesome day to be alive and conquering your day one moment at a time. Indeed. Well, we are happy to have both of you and everyone rocking with us today. Greetings, everyone, and thanks for making us part of your daily routine. What's your plan to get home safely? Well, we've got the chairman of the Road Safety Council, Altonio, stopping by to discuss what the organization is doing to inspire better behavior on our roads. Yeah, I know a lot of people say, well, where are the police? What are they doing? They're just slogans and the like. So really looking forward to an engaging conversation with Mr. Roberts. The Daily Play is a remember when today. All right. So it's about something almost everyone except me utilizes today. That's a hint. All right. Seriously. Alrighty, folks. Don't forget to subscribe on thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right. Question of the morning. Well, we've got someone trying to get me over to Philadelphia. A 9/11 Island Girl says, Eagles, amazing fan base, great team. All right. I had them in the bucket because I rooted for them in like a couple Super Bowls recently with Jalen Hurts. So Eagles fans, you might be in the lead. You might be in the lead. But today's question, folks, is how do we balance public safety with privacy? Now, I always say, I listen intently to what you, the audience, say, and I read your comments. And Suzanne Ingham, for years, has been talking about this topic we're about to discuss. All across the United States of America, concerns are being raised about something called flock cameras. Now, if you're unfamiliar, they're automated license plate readers that capture information about vehicles and allow law enforcement to search that information as part of investigations. Now, on the surface, that sounds like a good thing, right? If technology can help police find stolen vehicles, locate suspects, or solve serious crimes, most of us probably understand the benefit. But there's another side to it. Civil liberties groups have raised concerns about mass surveillance and the ability to create records of where ordinary people travel, despite them not being suspected of committing a crime. There have also been cases in the United States where police officers have been accused of misusing these systems to track people for personal reasons. Yeah, we've had an ex-husband tracking his wife, ex-wife, ex-girlfriend tracking her ex-boyfriend, and more. That's where something designed to protect the public can quickly become something the public needs protection from. Now, let me bring this home. Bermuda doesn't have flock cameras, at least not that I'm aware of. Let me be clear. But government has spent years expanding the island's CCTV network. In July 2025, the then Minister of National Security, Michael Weeks, said that the rollout was nearly complete, with 225 cameras across 130 locations, providing 460 camera views. Now, considering the conversations we've had about crime, I understand why people want cameras. When something happens, we're often asking whether there is footage. We want crime solved. We want people held accountable. We want our community to be safer. But wanting safety doesn't mean we shouldn't ask questions about privacy. Things like, who has access to the footage? How long is it stored? What can it be used for? Is every time someone accesses the system recorded? What happens if someone uses it for reasons that have absolutely nothing to do with preventing or solving a crime? And who is responsible for ensuring the people watching us are themselves being watched? That's where I think the conversation needs to be. Technology isn't necessarily the problem, it's how it's used, who controls it, and what protections are in place to prevent abuse. Bermuda is a very small place. With enough cameras, it wouldn't be difficult to potentially track someone's movements from one end of the island to the other. Now, maybe that helps us solve a serious crime. Most of us would probably support that, right? But should someone be able to track an innocent person's movements without a legitimate reason? I think not. Somehow, though, we have to find the balance between keeping Bermuda safe and protecting people's privacy. We shouldn't have to choose one or the other. So that's your question for the morning. That's your question for the morning. How do we balance public safety with privacy? Give it some thought. We'll take a quick break and we'll come back, have the discussion, and put up the poll. Stick with us.
People's ACW, located at King Edward VII Memorial Hospital, carries over-the-counter medicines, toys, cards, and even toiletries. Our knowledgeable staff are there whether you're at emergency, visiting family, or a member of BHB staff, to show you our best even when you're feeling your worst. People's ACW, we're here for you.
Alrighty, folks, this is your daily discussion. You see the question scrolling at bottom of the screen. If you're watching online, if you're on the radio, the question is, how do we balance public safety with privacy? In the US, there have been a number of cases. Just to give some insight, there was a police officer in Florida who was tracking his ex-wife over 700 times. There's a number of officers in DeKalb County in Georgia who have been suspended. There are officers in Savannah. Texas has brought some issues to light, right? It goes back to the old saying, who's policing the police? Who's watching those who are supposed to be watching over us? And, you know, it's crazy, right? Because although there hasn't been a case of this in Bermuda, what we don't want to do is wait till there is one to raise concerns about it. So let's discuss it. And here's the poll question. Are you comfortable with the number of CCTV cameras around Bermuda? 1 for yes, 2 for no. Are you comfortable with the number of CCTV cameras around Bermuda? And if you're just tuning in, according to the then Minister of National Security, Michael Weeks, last July 2025, said the rollout was nearly complete with 225 cameras across 130 locations, providing 460 camera views. Now, I remember back a few months ago, the mayor of Atlanta saying that Atlanta is the most surveilled city in the United States of America. Not sure if that's fact, but that's what he said. But he said we're the most surveilled. Like, you do something in Atlanta and they will find you. They kind of do find people really fast. They don't just find them, they find you really fast. They track you. Like, if you do something in the city, they track you throughout the city if you're still in the city, within hours. But anyway, the question of the morning, how do we balance public safety with privacy? What are your thoughts on that? And are you comfortable with the number of CCTV cameras around? Let's go to the audience. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, George Orwell all over again. It requires a balance to be struck. It requires oversight to prevent abuse / nosy individuals. Yes, let's use nosy, but you Bermudians, we love to say pokey, right? A lot of pokiness, right? And then we don't just poke, we spread stuff about people. Oh, did you see such and such go in this place and that place? That should be a concern. I understand the concern. No, let me be very clear. I've always been an advocate of CCTV if it means keeping Bermudians safe, if it means keeping Bermuda safe. I've always been an advocate. I'm not going to switch up here. But I am concerned based on what I've seen happen across the United States. And if you are just tuning in, this is your daily discussion brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. If you're just tuning in, basically, yes, CCTV can provide legitimate benefits, evidence, identify vehicles or suspects, and assist investigations. But the flock controversy in the United States offers a warning. Technology created for public safety can be abused when access and oversight aren't strong enough. Now, privacy, let me be very clear with this, because a lot of people would say, oh, why people are worried about their privacy if you ain't got nothing to hide. No, privacy doesn't mean having something to hide. Someone can support law enforcement while still believing innocent people shouldn't be unnecessarily tracked. Let's say, and I'm being extreme, and let me use a PG version because there are probably children in cars, right? But let's be honest. If someone wants to go in their fenced-in backyard, right, and in a bathing suit to catch a suntan or something, but there's a camera up on their pool, how do they know they're not being watched by some sick freak? So I understand the privacy concerns. I get it. What else, audience? And audience, this is another important community conversation. So please, if you can, share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, to balance public safety with privacy will always be difficult as long as there is a human element involved. Perhaps the emphasis ought to be on more automation over human involvement. Well, we don't like automation, Dr. Anthony Richardson. We don't seem to like it. We think automation takes people's jobs. Think about it. People manning the cameras, employed. Automation, not employed. Again, one issue replaces another, right? What else, audience? How do we balance public safety with privacy? And also, the poll question, are you comfortable with the number of CCTV cameras around Bermuda? 1, yes, 2, no. Now, again, the number of CCTV cameras around Bermuda, according to the then National Minister of National Security, the Minister of National Security, July 2025, Michael Weeks, he said the rollout was nearly complete with 225 cameras across 130 locations, providing 460 camera views. All righty, let's go back to the audience. We've got Renee Sherlin says, countries need to move with new technology and implement laws that prohibit the exploitation of people doing harmful and illegal activities by using such new technology. Be proactive, not reactive. What do you mean by that? What should they do? Are you saying, like Dr. Anthony Richardson, that they should be full automation with no human involvement? Well, what does that mean, Renee Sherlin, if you don't mind? James Burgess says, I believe it'll be a hindrance to people's privacy. Okay. Suzanne Ingham, who has been fully against the idea of the CCTV, says, if you want them in the roads, fine, but to put them in residential areas is wrong. If all the residents want it in their area, that's up to them. I'm against police surveillance everywhere. That police officer needs to be fired. And acts that is harassment and an invasion of privacy. The guy has crossed the line. So, folks, if you go on our website, thedailyhour.com, and you scroll down to the monologues, keep in mind, I'm sharing links in the monologues on the website where you can actually click those links and read all of the stories where the flock camera controversy. So there have been various people within law enforcement across the United States who've been suspended. They've been suspended for pretty much stalking people with the camera information that they have access to. It's crazy. How do we balance public safety with privacy? Voice of Our Time says need it to work properly. Speaking about the CCTV cameras. Charles H. Jefferson II said, I believe I heard recently that CCTV cameras will track a license plate from camera to camera and will use tickets based on the speed traveled in between cameras. That seems like flock cameras. I think, Charles, flock is just the brand. So I think you're right. Flock, I think, is just the brand, if I'm not mistaken. It's so, is brand the right term I'm looking for? I think it's just the brand or term that they're using in the United States. But yeah, I think the same thing can happen, Charles. So I think the argument is valid for Bermuda. I think the argument is valid. And maybe the minister, Senator Ryan Robinson, Parent Chief, can shed some light on this, give us an update on CCTV, who has access to the cameras and the like. But I think this is a conversation we need to be having before we get to some dangerous place. We've got Stacey Ann Brown says, did anyone watch the series Person of Interest? We are all being watched. You know, Stacey, I say it all the time. You know, our cell phones, right? We carry around these cell phones. And most of us have our locations on. You know, we're using Wi-Fi. We're using all that. I always tell people, none of that stuff is for our benefit. Someone always knows where we are. Someone always knows where we are. Your cell phone bouncing off of towers. I get that. But I think something is very uncomfortable. And I couldn't imagine being one of those people whose exes worked in law enforcement and had access to my whereabouts at any time. That's strange to me. That is strange to me, folks. Seriously. As a woman, it must be frightening. No, let me be very clear. I believe in surveillance for safety. Many of you have Ring cameras, right? I have a dashboard cam. That's for my protection. Even my Meta glasses. I'm not turning them on unless I know people know that it's on. Obviously, you can see when it's running because the light's on unless someone has a sticker over it. But something makes me very uncomfortable when people watch others without their knowledge or record others without their knowledge. Specifically, for what we would deem strange or weird behavior and acts. Renee Sherlin says, I mean to implement laws against such and roll them out the same time as the technology is revealed so that the laws will prohibit invasion of others' privacy. I appreciate that, yes. And I would say if there aren't laws already, if there are not laws already, and my hope is that a message is sent to those in law enforcement, not just suspension, but a message must be sent to those who have abused having access to the footage. Dr. Anthony Richardson says, yes, Flock Camera is a brand belonging to a company called Flock Safety. Got it. Charles H. Jeffers II, he says, humans will do what humans do. We must provide proper training and enforcement for and of those responsible with monitoring these systems. Okay, we've got Dr. Maria Siemens says, yep, we are all being watched anyway. New parking routines. When in car park, they recognized my number and told me what it was. Yeah, we are. But it's something about, I don't think it's necessarily about being watched. It's about those who are watching us and for the wrong reasons, that abuse. You get me? Like, let me watch my ex-wife. Let me watch my estranged husband. Let me watch my political enemy. Like that kind of stuff is just that we shouldn't be going for that. It's bad. It's not the same as we're all being watched, is my point. There need to be, I agree with Renee Sherlin, there needs to be some strict guidelines. And the punishments must be severe to deter. I agree with Charles. People need to be trained to understand that they cannot use and abuse what they have access to for their personal vendettas or whatever it is. Dr. Anthony Richardson says it doesn't take much for a camera mount overlooking a public road to be turned into the backyard of a house here in Bermuda. There are security cameras that can do this all over Bermuda, for sure. And I think that's one of Suzanne Ingham, that's been one of her concerns from the beginning, is that the cameras can turn and directly turn into her yard. That, I think, has been one of her concerns. We've got Amari Simon says, transparency. Public should be able to see when a camera is being used. Camera usage should be heavily audited. I agree. And I appreciate Amari entering this conversation because he is a technical person. But the same way like how a Meta camera, if it's recording, a light comes on, the light should turn a color on the cameras to let people know they're being recorded. Talk about deterring bad behavior. That could possibly do it, right? We've got Suzanne Ingham says, the only people who need to know where I am, going to, or coming home to is no one's business except my kids. I always let them know where I am. No one else needs to know, not even the police, unless I commit a crime or a crime is committed. Dr. Maria Siemens says, Loyal Hill folks complained. Yes, Suzanne Ingham is one of them. Yeah, she's one of them. All right, folks, let us know. That's your question of the morning. How do we balance public safety with privacy? Again, you can go to our website on the monologue and you can continue the conversation. You can also click some of the links and let us know your concerns about that. And also, feel free to ask the government questions early. Ask them some of the questions. Who has access? Write the Minister of National Security, Senator Ryan Robinson, Parent Chief. Ask him, who has access to this footage? Let's not wait till something happens. All right. The poll says, are you comfortable with the number of CCTV cameras around Bermuda? Well, 80% of you have said no. 80% of you have said no. Interesting. All righty. Let's pay some love to Titan Express and Secure for their support of this daily discussion. And folks, if you haven't already, make sure you give us a like, love, follow, share the link with your friends, family, and colleagues, because we have a very special guest coming up after the days of the year and our first commercial break. Stick with us. The daily discussion is brought to you by Titan Express and Secure. Titan Express delivers safe, professional, and reliable transportation and tours across the island. From island tours to cultural expressions, they set the standard. And Secure is your go-to for property management, waste management, and residential and commercial services. Visit securebda.com. Professional, punctual, and reliable service is their commitment to you. All righty, folks. One more comment before we do our days of the year. Charles H. Jeffs II, he says, penalties must be severe and implemented swiftly with proper due process. Too often we let things linger when there has been wrongdoing. Absolutely. I think that comes down to manpower in the court systems, Charles. I do. All right, days of the year, folks. What do we have today? You know, it's Banana Split Day. It's National Park Service Founders Day. It's Whiskey Sour Day. It's Secondhand Wardrobe Day. And it's Kiss and Makeup Day. Kiss and Makeup Day. You know what? Let's go with Park Service Day. What's your favorite park to visit in Bermuda? What's your favorite park to visit in Bermuda? And while you say that, Suzanne Ingham wanted to provide clarity. She said, for clarity, CCTV is not looking into my yard. It is on the hill. Government and police never asked the LH community. They abused their power and just did it. They are completely out of line. They still need to take them down. The way they went about it is wrong. They need to check themselves. I appreciate that, Suzanne. And Suzanne, honestly, you inspired this conversation. I think it's something that residents should approve of, right? They should be involved in. I think if the majority of residents say no, then I think that it should be adhered to. Now, if something happens and the police say, well, there's no cameras in the area, then that's on the residents. They have to be accountable for that as well, right? So I appreciate that. But what's your favorite park, audience? We've got Dr. Maria Siemens says Aswood Park. We've got 9/11 Island Girls, Botanical Gardens. And says, oh, don't forget your NFL question. No, I said it. You said Eagles. Someone else said Green Bay. That question's going to keep going, folks. I'm looking for an NFL team. I'm disappointed. I'm not watching soccer like that anymore. Manchester United stressed me out. So I'm looking for an NFL team. So I'm a free agent. If you want to recruit me for your team, hit me up. I'm taking applications from anyone except the Patriots, Cowboys, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Traveling Trotty's favorite park, Spittle Pond. All right. We've got Suzanne Ingham says Flats. It's not a park. It's peace down there. I see what you mean over in the parking lot there. Yep. Tyra Simmons says it's not deemed a park, but Clearwater Playground is her favorite. Clearwater. All right, folks. Well, let's take a quick break. Don't forget, do us a favor. Cost you nothing. Share this conversation on your WhatsApp statuses, in your WhatsApp groups, on social media, because we're about to have a conversation right now. Every time there's a collision in Bermuda, every time we're sharing it throughout our social media. We're talking about it. We have opinions. We have the chairman of the Road Safety Council coming up. We're going to have a discussion about getting home safely and how the organization is trying to inspire people to do just that. So let your friends and family and all those who are concerned about what's going on our roads know that we're about to address it. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this short break.
Guess what? Bermuda's most popular game is back. That's right, Shoebuy is back in stores. But wait, there's more. The brand new Shoebuy Summer Edition is here too. Bring the laughs, the vibes, the friendly chaos to your barbecues and summer get-togethers with Bermuda's favorite game. Don't miss your chance to get yours. Visit BermudaTrivia.com and follow Bermuda Trivia on social media to learn more.
One Lucky Bucks in the summer edition has a golden ticket with the chance to win a grand prize courtesy of One Communications.
Hi there, welcome to Medical House. We're located at number 6 Bakery Lane. I can't wait to show you all of the great stuff that we carry. Come on inside, let's see. Long days, long shifts, you no longer have to endure comfortable underwear. Designed by nurses, we now offer premium undergarments by Swoop that are unique, fun, comfortable, and functional. The only underwear you'll ever want to wear. Who says high-quality functional products can't be stylish and comfortable at the same time?
See it all at our new expanded location on Bakery Lane.
Discover Drop It, your go-to grocery delivery. Browse and select from a wide range of groceries, from fresh produce to daily essentials. Our friendly drivers deliver fresh groceries to your door fast, saving you time and hassle. With Drop It, you get fresh groceries delivered fast so you can focus on what really matters. Drop It, freshness at your doorstep, delivered to your door with Lindo's. Why go anyplace else?
Ace boy, I see you got your US cash. Traveling again? Rich Altonio, what's your secret?
Nah, I just use the new HSBC Bermuda travel website.
I know about cashback, but it's got a travel website too?
Yeah, and it's lit. Flights, hotels, rentals, book it all in one spot and use your reward points instantly. No blackout dates, no delays. I'm going, bro.
What you mean use your points instantly?
Yeah, bro. Go on the site, see how many points you've got from all that shopping you've been doing. And if you ain't got enough for what you want, just use your HSBC credit card and top it up with some more points.
Okay, spend the points, stack some more. I see, I'm got you now.
I know, right?
Log on to redeem.hsbc.bm. Book your travel deal. Pay with your points. No blackout dates. Easy and hassle-free. Visit redeem.hsbc.bm and get going. HSBC, opening up a world of opportunity. HSBC is licensed to conduct banking and investment business by the Bermuda Monetary Authority.
Ever taken medication and thought, why is this hitting me so hard? Or why isn't this doing anything at all? Here's something you may not know. Your body processes medication the same way it needs to process food, using enzymes. And these enzymes metabolize medication so it can be converted into its useful form or removed from your body. Pharmacogenetics looks at how your DNA influences the way your body metabolizes or breaks down medications. It helps explain why a drug that works well for one person causes side effects in another and barely works at all for someone else. That means the same pill at the same dose can feel very different from one person to the next. It's not about blame, it's not about doing something wrong, it's simply biology. And once you know what works best for you, medication decisions stop being guesswork and start becoming personalized.
Alrighty, welcome back to the big show. Jamal Hartman here. This is the Daily Hour brought to you by the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Audience, do not forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. All right, folks, real quickly, before we bring our very special guest in, Altonio Roberts, the chairman of the Road Safety Council. So yesterday, right, my birthday is coming up in a couple weeks, so I have to get my car passed. So I went to get my car passed, and I was talking to someone in Bermuda, very influential in, like, you know, getting cars passed and so on. I was on the phone with them while I was getting it done. They're like, oh, I didn't know you had to do that in the U.S. Every state's different. And it hit me. I'm like, man, the only states I've lived in 7 states where I've had to get my car passed, and obviously laws could have changed in some of them by then, I believe was Georgia and Rhode Island. I'm not sure about Massachusetts, New York, because I didn't own cars there. But in saying that, when I say it was so fast, like I drove into the emissions testing thing, right? And like scanned this, hooked this thing up to the car, and da-da-da. I was literally done. Tell you no lie, audience, in less than 3 or 4 minutes. Like the quickest process ever. I was literally back home before my phone call was ended. I'm not showing off. I'm saying, I'm sharing that because there are places who have made things more efficient. And what makes this efficient is there are so many testing places all over the place. So, like, you can't really go a mile without a testing place. I'm not saying that, you know, I've never owned a car in Bermuda, so I don't know how long it takes or whatever. But maybe it'll be beneficial to have testing units all over. I know they have one up the west and so on. But folks, it's so smooth. It's so smooth. So smooth. All right. Somebody's showing off. Charles says, if you have an EV, there's no emissions test needed. We appreciate you, Charles. 911 Island Girl, he must have an EV, says everything is slow in Bermuda. Still too much use of paperwork, even though people use technology. And we've got Sherry Lynn Pringle says, we had emissions testing in Texas. It was never an ordeal. Okay. So Texas says it as well. All right, folks. Well, without further ado, we've got a very special guest. Again, we've got the chairman of the Road Safety Council. Let's give a warm TDH welcome to, oops, well, that's appropriate. Actually, it's a horn. But let's give a warm TDH welcome to our very special guest, the chairman of the Road Safety Council, Altonio Roberts. Greetings, sir. How are you?
Good morning. How you doing?
We are good. We are good.
I appreciate that horn. I appreciate that horn.
You know what? It's a good hour. It was a good hour. It made sense. But look, before we jump into the convo this morning, I got to ask you something.
Yes.
We were asking people, what's their favorite national park in Bermuda? What's your favorite park in Bermuda?
I think my favorite park would probably be Asa Park. Yeah, it's kind of is big. You see the ocean, you know. Yeah, I think Asa Park.
Okay. It's interesting because I didn't know the role, but Charles had said, Charles H. Jefferson II said, it's now Bars Park because of its history. Okay. We had
Bars Park is a good one too. Bars Park is good.
We have Whale Bay Park and Beaches, Three Nation Islands, Shirley Bay, but also we had Spanish Point Beach Park. I didn't say mine. My favorite park? I was an outdoorsy man, but I would probably say I used to love the Arboretum when I was young because I've spent time up there as a Boy Scout and, you know, I went to Prospect, so it was close. But all right, yeah. Asphalt Park was one of my favorites to go to watch the waves during hurricanes and stuff, though.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Beautiful. Well, Chairman, thank you for joining us. Always appreciate you, your time and your. We have absolutely, to me, forward thinking conversations. Whenever someone from the road safety comes on, we recently had Sadeli
Yes.
last month, and today we'll have you. And again, these are important road safety conversations that we will be investing in monthly, folks. The purpose of these conversations isn't just to talk. It's not just to have questions or interview. It's really, these are brainstorming sessions with all of you so that we can see
Yes.
less police press releases about the one yesterday that came through, 2 collisions. We don't want to see that. And we definitely don't want to see in the middle of the day a collision where the driver was then arrested under the influence. So as we jump into today's conversation, Mr. Chairman, we've had this don't drink and drive, right? We've heard that for decades, like seriously. Yet, impaired driving remains a concern. Let me share something. And this person shared it in confidence. So I hope they're not mad that I'm sharing this, right? They said they were somewhere over the summer. They were somewhere over the summer. And they said someone who already had an incident drinking and driving said, you know what? I just drink less. I just drink less. They still drink and drive, but they just drink less. Help us understand, Mr. Chairman, why does the message of don't drink and drive still need to be reinforced when you hear stuff like that?
You're absolutely right, Jamel. I think Don't Drink and Drive, I probably started hearing Don't Drink and Drive probably as a kid. In my 30s. So we've heard the message of don't drink and drive for decades, but for some reason the message does not stick. And I think that we have come desensitized to the fact that, or we think we're Superman or Superwoman, that we just decide that we can go out and have a drink. And then decide to get on our bikes, get in our cars, and it has become very cultural. And you ask the question, why we're still talking about this? It's a question. We have seen many lives over the last decade. Let's go back, who have lost their lives from either being intoxicated while driving or by someone who was intoxicated and driving, and we haven't got the message yet. Bermuda is. We're party people. We're party nation. The one who wrote the song "Bermuda's Like the Drink," very much so. For every occasion, we just drink. We just drink, right? But what we haven't done is not drink and drive. And I really think that it's a cultural thing. And not to be offensive, but it's us. We, the people, have to change. We have to make up our mind that we're going to shift what we do. So it's rough. It's terrible. Really, just speaking frank, we're in a very bad space. But we have to do something.
Yeah. Audience, I want to ask the audience real quickly, and I don't want everyone to say yes, but do you think that we've allowed alcohol to define our culture? Just a yes or no, audience. Do you believe that we've allowed alcohol to define our culture? Now, Mr. Chairman, just explain, because going back to that comment that I shared, someone already been involved in an incident driving under the influence, and they say, well, I'm just not going to drink as much when I know I'm going to drive. But people don't understand what happens to our judgment, reaction time, and decision making after consuming alcohol, even when we may feel like we're still capable of driving. Speak to us about that, because I don't think people quite understand that.
Yeah, this is a very interesting question there, Jamel, and I think it's a very important question. And a few weeks ago, the team and I were doing some research, and I came on these percentages, that how our mind and how our body is affected once we start drinking. So the blood alcohol count is 0.08, right? So in Bermuda, they serve a shot at one, I think it's an ounce and a quarter that we serve our shots here in Bermuda. Why? I don't know. But at one shot, our blood alcohol count goes to 0.02, roughly, depending on body types, but generally speaking, 0.02. That's one shot. And at that one shot, the mind is already altered. The judgment of the mind is already altered. So most times people go out, if you go out to, happy hour or whatever hour, most people go have a shot and have a drink. So, or have a shot or a beer, right? So by the time you've had that one shot and that beer, you're already at 0.05 alcohol count. And what it says is that your coordination is hard to steer and hard to respond to emergencies when it comes to we have been drinking. So our mind, from one shot, our mind is already our judgment is off. So most people go out, they're not going out for one drink, they're not going out for one shot, they're going out for a few, 5, 6, depending on a day party may have 10, 11 drinks. So these are all things, and these percentages were way past. One shot we should not drive. Essentially, according to what they say about the body and how the mind and our judgment changes. So most times we're way past the limit of our judgment when it comes to driving.
Indeed. And I did ask the audience, have we allowed alcohol to define our culture? Suzanne Ingham says yes. James Burgess says yes. Dr. Seaman says yes. Chris Lynn Vogel Meisner says need harsher penalties. And folks, if you have any questions or comments for the chairman, feel free to send them through. I'll get through as many as possible. But one of the things I learned before I was old enough to drink, I was around a bunch of police officers. I said, well, how many drinks does it take? And they used to say it doesn't, it's no number of drinks. It depends on your blood. Like, certain people's tolerance is better than others, right? But people often focus on how much they've had to drink when deciding, oh, I've only had 3 beers. Well, today, 3 beers might be okay. Tomorrow, 3 beers may send you over the limit if you haven't eaten, if some, you're just in a different state. Last rest. Why is that such a dangerous statement to make? A dangerous judgment.
It's very dangerous, and it really speaks to how we have conditioned our minds to think that, oh, I've only had 1 drink, oh, I've only had 1 shot, I'm okay, right? But again, you talk about, you haven't eaten today, you haven't drank water today, you may still have effects from yesterday's drinking. Your body, levels may just be off, but it's never okay. And I always say it's never okay for us to decide that we're going to have a few drinks and get on the road. It's actually, in my opinion, is a crime. The minute we decide that we are going to get on the road after having a good time is a crime. And no one's saying, I'm not saying not have a good time. I believe that we, as people, that makes who we are. We like having a good time. We like hanging out with friends. We like hanging out with family, colleagues. That's how we mingle, right? But it's what we do after we've had a good time. That's the problem, in my opinion.
Now, you and the organization have emphasized that the safest decision should be made before the first drink. Meaning, people, if they know they're going out to drink, should arrange a ride prior. Like if you're going county game, if you're going to a soccer fete, if you're going wherever you're going, make those plans. What practical steps should people take before heading out if they know they'll be drinking?
Literally just planning, like how you said, just planning. We plan which bar we're going to, we plan which parties we're going to. We have to decide to plan how we're going to get there. If it's designating the driver, and us, if we're a group of friends deciding, let's all, it's your turn to be designated driver, or establishing a taxi ride. I think it was you, Jamal, who spoke about, how your family just decides to do taxis at Cup Match. You already made that decision. You've been doing that for a while. You decide we're going to go by taxi. We're not going to drive. We have to make a decision how we're going to plan, how we're going to get home. We know that transportation in Bermuda stops at midnight at the moment, right? So how are we deciding to get home? Is it taxi? Is it we're calling Uncle Steve or on Shelly to come pick us up, Mama and Daddy? How are we going to get home? Are we going to get a ride share? Are we going to get a taxi? We have to make that plan ahead of time.
Yeah, indeed. Audience, I'll get to you in a second, but I want to actually, James Burgess says, Bermudians love to drink unnecessarily. And then he says, then they fight if you try to take their keys if they are intoxicated. And that goes into my next question, because earlier you said it's on us, right? Like we also have a responsibility to look out for one another. If you believe a friend or family member has had too much to drink, what should you do to prevent them from getting behind the wheel or on that bike? But as James Burgess says, people get aggressive.
People do get aggressive. I think my friends know for a fact that if we're going to be drinking, we're going, someone's get a taxi or I'm taking your keys. You know what I'm saying? I'm not allowing you to get on the road intoxicated or drunk. So I think that it's called being our brother's keeper, and I'm not afraid to get a little hostile with one of my friends just to save their life. I'm not afraid to do that. You know what I'm saying? But I think that is that statement of being our brother's keeper. We have to make a decision that is all you and I. You and I have to make a decision to change. So if it's, holding our friends accountable, holding our families accountable, then let's do that, Definitely.
I remember many years ago, I was having a radio conversation on my show, a Sunday night show on Hot 107.5 with the mother of murder victim Shunday Jones, Miss Marsha Jones. And said back then, nothing good happens after midnight, right?
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is when we're not in full control of ourselves, nothing really good's gonna come out of that.
Yeah.
And that's not just alcohol, but when we're not in our right frame of mind, or like our normal state, it's a risk, and it's not just a risk for us, but it's a risk for the people around us. I'll give you an example, and this may be extreme for some Bermudians, but this would be normal in the United States. But when I first, took my firearms classes, my instructor, he was like a drill instructor. Like I might as well have just done my time in the regiment. But he said, if you have an ego or a temper, you don't need to earn one of these things. And I would say to those who consume alcohol regularly or party, if you have an ego or a temper, you don't need to be under the influence of anything.
Correct.
Because that is likely going to trigger or set you off on another level. Correct. So I think they're kind of the same. And some people may say, no, but guns are used. No, under the influence, a vehicle is as dangerous as a firearm.
Yeah.
Let's go to the audience. Go ahead. Sorry.
I have one friend who I said, listen, if you're going to drink, I don't even want to be in your area because you just don't know how to behave. You get, aggressive, you get, angry. And I tell him all the time, you probably someone that should just drink water. Just drink water with life because you don't know how to behave. And we have to recognize that in ourselves and appreciate that for ourselves.
Yeah. Bermuda's roads are already hard to navigate.
Exactly.
Under the influence, it becomes that much more difficult. And I think that's what I would love people to understand.
Yeah.
Roads are already narrow. There's only so much space. Once you consume alcohol or are under the influence of any substance, it becomes that much more difficult, no matter how good a driver or rider you think you are. Trust me, folks. Trust me. Let's go to the audience if you don't mind.
Sure.
So we've got a few questions. Traveling Trotty's asking, is the alcohol limit part of the written exam for a driver's license?
I believe that the alcohol limit, it is in the book. It is one of the questions that come up with the test. The way how the test runs, and I don't work for TCDs, I can't speak to all of it, but the way how the test runs, they do random questions based on the TCD manual, but it is one of the questions in the manual.
All right. We've got Charles H. Jeffers II. He says, I believe 100% of the RTS, road traffic fatalities this year, have been bike riders. Although the bike riders may not have been the cause of the collisions, is it time to look at alternative transportation, small EVs, PT, etc.?
Now, I'm always said that I think that it is time for us to. I like my bike. 100% like my bike. I can get somewhere, easily. Park it is easily. But I definitely say I think when it comes to tourists, it is important that we kind of move away from rental bikes when it comes to tourists. I think that you can even in electric vehicles, in cars, and small vehicles, you can still get in accidents. I wouldn't write bikes off. I think it makes who we are. But I think for our visiting friends, I think that it shouldn't be allowed. That's me personally saying that.
I want to read this comment. Sherilyn Pringle makes a great point because if you notice, I have spoken about drunkenness, but I keep saying under the influence of substances, right? And the reason for that is she says to James Burgess, sadly, it's not just drink nowadays. I picked up people in the taxi that are high as a kite. Let me be clear, because this argument's been going for years. People will say, oh, you never see anybody who's high from marijuana or weed or hemp or cannabis, whatever you choose to call it. But you never see them. And I'm like, how do you know that? When they say under the influence or driving under the influence, they don't necessarily always say alcohol.
Right.
I keep saying to people, if you're not in your normal state, let me not say their normal state, because their normal state may be under influence. But if you're not in what they consider a normal state,
yes,
then you are a risk to others. It's like, I don't know if you all have ever taken medication, like you had an injury and you have to take this medication. On it, it usually says, if the medication is really heavy, do not operate a vehicle or machinery while taking it. Yeah. So it's no different. We've got Chrislyn Bogle Meisner says, arrange a ride home, be responsible. Our life and others are in our hands when we are irresponsible drivers, being our brothers and sister keepers. Now, you heard that. You've got slogans. Some people feel, oh, but these slogans and words don't matter. How do we get past this stuff?
I want to go back really quick, Jamali, because you brought up a good point about the under the influence. Now, you can be under the influence of prescription drugs, all of those things, and alcohol. And we tend to focus on alcohol a lot, but we don't focus on people that, like you said, may have been on prescription drugs. These are all things that we have to bring to the light so that our people can be, it can ding, the light can ding off in our heads. So it is very, very, very important. But I said that statement, but I forgot your question. Repeat your question for me, please.
It was Chrislyn Bogle. She was saying she arranged a ride home. She said, arrange a ride home, be responsible. Our life and others are in the hands when we are irresponsible drivers. Be our brothers, sisters, and keepers, right?
Yeah.
We have people saying stuff like this. We have slogans. We have all this messaging. But how do we get past what people feel, oh, they're just slogans and words? Where's the action?
There has to be a mindset change, and that's what we have. The Road Safety Council has been preaching, or saying for the last couple of years now. It has to be a mindset. It has to be a cultural change. The switch has to flick in our minds that we have to change how we behave. It's like a child. You have to. Every time a child does something, you have to, correct them until the child understands, okay, I cannot do this anymore, right? So we have to, continue to, beat the horn. I got tired of saying it. I get tired of, don't drink and drive. Don't do this. Stop it gets tiring. You sound like a broken record. It sounds like a broken. Actually, had someone said to me, I'm tired of hearing you on the radio. I'm tired of hearing you. Well, maybe you're starting to hear, right? But I think we have to continue to beat the horn so that people can actually, it can at some point flip the switch in their head. Like, wait, no, I'm the problem. I need to change. And we talk about stricter penalties. Yes, we can do that. They will see that's happening. But at some point, we still have to change. We're going to change because we don't want to pay that $50,000 fine. Well, we have to change. Let's change now.
Yeah. We've got a couple similar questions. I'll ask both of them, but Sherilyn Pringle's asking, is the bartender certification still in effect? Weren't they allowed to take keys? And Chrislyn Bogle-Myers is saying, is it the duty of the bartender to cease serving a customer when they are intoxicated? Shared rules.
Bars and restaurants, anyone that sells alcohol has to be tip certified. They have to be either the manager or a worker that's tip certified based on the amount of people, the occupancy of that location. In the tip certification, you do agree that if you will not serve alcohol to someone who is drunk or intoxicated. So they can decide not to serve someone who is been intoxicated or who seems intoxicated. Actually, if something happens to someone that is intoxicated and they've been in your bar, and if it goes back, if the investigation is done and it goes back, that club or bar or restaurant can be held liable for that person being drunk and in their establishment and leave their establishment.
So we've got quite a few. We're not going to get through all of the questions, folks, but we do have Troy Glasgow adds that the test randomly picks questions of which some are alcohol related. Yes, absolutely. Speaking about the driving test there. Dr. Smith says there is drink driving, but also drug driving. Indeed. We've got Shawnette Sumner, 911 Island Girl, says people who leave home with the full intent of getting full hot are immature and irresponsible. Leaving others to clean up after them on the ride home is the worst. Ask the taxi driver about that. We also have Michael Daniel says people who do shots do not like to drink. They like to get high. I remember when I stopped drinking, I was drinking Heineken Zero, and people be like, People still make jokes of it. Oh, what's the point of a Heineken Zero? Like, I drink to get a buzz. And
right.
I was just like, you just admitted that you have a problem. That's like, no. Think about this. Think about it. You all may disagree, but you may disagree. But think about this. We don't eat to become obese. We don't eat to have a heart attack. We eat for taste because we enjoy the food we're eating, right? Most of us, right? So to say that we drink to get on the influence, that's admitting that we have a problem. To say you drink because you enjoy the flavor or taste, that's different. That's no different from eating food. So I think that's where the jokes about the Heineken Zero were always weird to me, because I'm like, it's literally the same taste without the feeling, right?
You brought up a good point. You brought up a good point. I think that people need society. People are stressed. A lot of these happen on why. I think people need to address what's actually happening. People are stressed, for many different reasons, and they're using alcohol as a suppressant, right? We need to, change how we do that, and maybe social services needs to become more affordable so people can go talk to somebody. But it's definitely, I had someone just say to me yesterday, I'm stressed. What else am I going to do? Drink. I'm like, you're already saying you got no money, but you're going to go drink? It makes no sense. So, if people do use it as a suppressant to what they're already feeling, and I think that's what we're seeing, here in our culture as well.
And I want to be very clear here, because I know you all think I'm this conservative Republican these days because my views are changing. That is not true. I am still a believer. Let me be very clear in saying this. I'm a still believer that I believe people should be able to get drunk, high, do what they want in their place, their private place, if they're going to stay there and not go interrupt anyone else's peace. Trust me, if you want to stay home and drink or smoke your brains out, do your thing. I believe you should have the freedom to do that. Let me be very clear about that, because I don't want people to think, oh, I'm anti-drink and anti. No, do your thing. My problem is when you interrupt other people's peace.
Yes.
That's my issue with it. I know how I was, and I'm glad that I just decided one day I'm going to take a break and it's done. I was an annoying person under the influence. I was annoying. I know that. Traveling Trotty asking a very similar question to someone else. We'll read right behind this. But Traveling Trotty's asking, do people who are convicted of DUI have to take mandatory classes? And Brianna Gabrielle has a similar question. Does the Road Safety Council have any partnerships with court services through their DUI treatment court to offer any further targeted education on the matter?
So the council, that doesn't fall under the remit of the council, but there is programs that I know that's being developed now under the Ministry of Transportation that will, people that have been affected by different demerit points, so for speeding or for people will have to take a class, re-education class. I think it's important that we take I have an unpopular opinion. I feel that if at some point, after 10 years, after 50 years, we may have to just take a little re-education. But that's my opinion. But I think that it's important. I know that when you go 65, you have to take that re-education. I think that we should take it sooner, because I think that we forget sometimes. We get, a little loose on the road.
Yeah, indeed. Another question here. Dr. Seaman, I agree. She says it will never stay in the hole safely in response to me saying that I have no problem people drinking or getting high in their space. And again, once they do that, they're under the influence, they're likely to go and interrupt someone's peace. So I take that point. My point is, if they're locked in their own space and doing it, cool. But I know you got to go. So one last from the audience. This is to the point where people have asked about bartenders being certified or taking keys away. Dr. Smith brings up a very valid question. What about bar hoppers? How do you hold one particular facility responsible if the rampant drinking began 3 or 4 bars, clubs earlier? My response to that, I'm not the expert. Sorry, I just want to jump in. But Brother Dexter, at the end of the day, don't serve the person drink if they're coming in already intoxicated. No?
Yeah.
But
right. And that's the answer. And even I believe security guards are held up to that same standard. If you see someone who is belligerently drunk or feeling nice, or comes across as intoxicated, it's your choice as a bartender to serve them or not. And I think that we have to, or not we, but bartenders have to make a decision. I'm not going to serve you. It's not about making the money. Is it about making the money, or is it about keeping our people safe?
Yeah.
And sometimes people don't realize how drunk they are.
Yeah.
So we have to help sometimes.
Yeah.
Most
For
times,
you,
really.
what would you say? Like, ultimately, arriving alive is about everyone getting home safely.
Yes.
What transportation options and planning would you encourage Bermudians to consider so that enjoying a night out doesn't end in tragedy?
Again, organizing family members or organizing a designated driver within your group, or scheduling a taxi, or we have rideshare that's online now, and it's increasing thanks to the Ministry of Transport. So you can schedule those rides. So the same way we schedule how we're getting out, schedule the rides. We have limos, we have minibuses, we have means of transportation out there. So schedule those rides, get, it's going to cost us $50, $60. Everybody put it in TAN, and let's schedule the ride to get it.
Indeed. Real quickly, Richard Scott says, any consideration to making the punishment harsher as a deterrent? A $10,000 fine for DUI or imprisonment could be a major deterrent. What is your thought process on? I think someone said it earlier, harsher punishments.
Mhm. I definitely think the ministry and the work safety council actually has made recommendations to the ministry in regards to harsher penalties. I think harsher penalties are needed, and I think that we will see that in the next coming months, coming weeks. But I always say we can put harsher penalties in, which we will, and sorry, they will, but we still have to decide to change. At the end of the day, we still have to decide to change our mind, because we don't want to pay that $10,000 fee. So we're going to do something different, so we don't have to pay that fee. So why not do something different so that we don't affect somebody else's life? Why not do something different so that we don't, affect our lives? And again, like you said, affect everybody else's peace, because it's very disheartening to see the increase. I mean, right now we see cars, people for intoxication at 9, 10, 11 o'clock in the morning. So something else is happening. Something else is happening.
Yeah. One last one. Zvain Spencer says, I believe mental health can play a significant and often overlooked role in road traffic deaths, particularly when substance use, identity, stress, trauma, and risk-taking behaviors intersect. Thank you for this. Thank you for this comment, because I don't think we can overlook the mental health, or the role mental health plays in
Correct.
people every day, and these people operating vehicles. Is the Road Safety Council at all considerate or considering ways to address that part?
We have been talking to stakeholders and the likes of people like Gina Spence, Farmers, who has that program, and see what we can do. Again, the council is formed to make recommendations and to do education, so we can actually put policies in place, but we can make recommendations to the minister, which we do. But our job is to re-educate. So we are working with teams to get education programs to our people, so that we can help them.
Indeed.
And support them.
Mr. Chairman, thank you so much. Another
Thank
helpful
you.
conversation. So many other things to discuss. Distracted driving, speeding. That's a lot that we can go into, and I'm looking forward
Careless.
to the month. Yes, careless. It's a lot. So thank you for the work your team's doing. And again, the awareness is necessary, but awareness means nothing without responsible adults making better choices. So thank you for your time, and look forward
Thank
to
you.
the update on next month. Talk soon.
Yes. Have a good night.
Until you upload. Cool. Later. Alrighty. That is the chairman of the Road Safety Consul, Mr. Altonio Roberts. Folks, if you appreciated that conversation, make sure you give us a thumbs up, love, share the conversation with your friends, your family, your colleagues. We're going to take our final break, and after this break, we'll be back. I got a daily play with you. Audience, every last one of you. I think you're going to get this wrong. Stick with us. Hope I'm wrong.
Children love to play and have fun. And they love gifts even more, especially ones that they can enjoy and learn from. With Bermuda Trivia coloring books, kids can explore the island while they color, learn, and create. The perfect activity for fun and learning together. Available now.
Visit BermudaTrivia.com and follow Bermuda Trivia on your favorite social media platforms to learn more.
For over 70 years, Bermuda Pest Control has been protecting homes and businesses island-wide. We offer a full suite of services, including rodent control, termite fumigation, and general insect control and maintenance. Our team of experts will quickly and efficiently eliminate any pest problem you may have. With Bermuda Pest Control, you can enjoy a pest-free home in no time. We're committed to providing fast, reliable, and solution-driven services for our customers. It's what we've been doing since 1952. Call Bermuda Pest Control today and say goodbye to pests for good.
Dreaming of expanding your business? With BDC's Loan Guarantee Program, we support your ambitions. Get up to 75% guarantee on bank or credit union loans up to $300,000. Just your vision and our support. Apply today and unlock new business opportunities. BDC, Bermuda Business starts here.
Life moves fast, and so can the unexpected. When you insure your home, you need to know that your insurance company has your back. At Frasienbrook, let one of our friendly and professional agents give you that peace of mind. Because when you are covered, you are confident. Call us at 296-3600 or visit frasienbrook.bm to learn more.
Sometimes, all we need is to relax. Take our minds away from it all. A midday break from the busy day. And just a little time to ourselves. Relax. Take a break. And unwind with Bermuda Trivia's crossword puzzle book. Available now across Bermuda. Visit BermudaTrivia.com and follow Bermuda Trivia on your favorite social media platforms to learn more.
Alrighty, welcome back to the Big Show. Thanks again to the chairman of the Road Safety Council, Altonio Roberts, for stopping by. Another important conversation, folks. We have to change our behaviors on the roads. We want to give a big shout out and thanks to the BAC group of companies, HSBC Bermuda, Mediquels Lenders, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. Folks, it is time for the Daily Play brought to you by Bermuda Trivia. Folks, if you don't have it yet, we still got time. The summer edition, the most fun edition of Shoe Buy, as well as the original Shoe Buy in stores now. Make sure you get yours today. Play it with your family, friends, colleagues. It is hilarious. Trust me. All right. Follow Bermuda Trivia on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, and TikTok to find out why it's Bermuda's favorite trivia game. All right. Are you ready? It is a remember when. Audience, I know you all. I gave you a hint. And I'll give it to you again. What appliance was introduced into American homes in 1955? The hint, it's something I do not use. Stacey Ann Brown, you got it. The microwave. Yeah, it was the microwave. Blender. I use a blender. I definitely use a dishwasher. I don't really use it. Yes, I do use a vacuum to clean my car. Yes, Richard Scott, you got it. Microwave. Kids Delight. Microwave. Microwave Little Ups. Ifis. Microwave. Island Girl. Microwave. Not a blender. Microwave. Charlene. Yeah, microwave. No, I don't use microwaves, you all. I remember I said that back in the day on the show, and Teo and Glenn Jones were going in on me. And now all of a sudden, a lot of people now don't use microwaves. I've never liked microwaves. My grandfather, he used to put his food in the microwave for like 10 minutes. I'm like, man, what you doing? But I don't know. The food tastes different to me when it's warmed up in a microwave. And so I always preferred reheating on the stove or you putting stuff in the oven. Never been a microwave person. But yeah, the microwave, one of the best appliances ever. I do use an air fryer too. Yes, Renee Charlotte, I use an air fryer. I do use my air fryer to warm stuff up. Now, I don't know how safe an air fryer. Do we even know if they're really safe? Like what impact they'll have on us later on in life? Because I make world famous air fried jerk chicken, folks. World famous. World famous. Yep. Everyone who's tasted it goes crazy. No, I'm not a chef. But anyway, let's wrap it up. As far as the discussion this morning, and if you missed this morning's discussion, folks, you need to go back and watch it. In the United States right now, there have been concerns across the country about the use of flock cameras. Flock cameras are basically tag readers. They read license plates and the like. And law enforcement, people within law enforcement, have had access to them and have been abusing that access. One man tracked his ex-wife, another tracked her ex-boyfriend's movements, and numerous officers across the U.S. have been suspended for their abuse, right, of the footage. Now, again, bringing it home to Bermuda, we have questions about CCTV. Who's going to have access to these cameras? Where will the footage be stored? This is important. This is very important. Don't wait till it comes home for us to address it. These are necessary questions and necessary concerns. As far as today's discussion with the chairman from the Road Safety Council, Altonio Roberts, look, folks, we're adults and we need to make adult decisions, mature adult decisions. You know, we're not here telling you to not have fun. One of the things I quickly realized, my life wasn't defined by drinking and partying. My friendships are still the same. I still live a very fun life. Some men go to bars. I go to the shooting range. I never, during my drinking days, would go for jogs outdoors. That's literally what I love to do now. I'm not telling anyone or everyone to stop drinking or smoking or doing whatever they enjoy doing. What I'm asking you to do is, if you're going to do it, don't interrupt anyone else's peace. That's it. There are ways to enjoy what you love to do without interrupting anyone else's peace while doing what they love to do. We have to do better. And we know better. So let's just start living better. And it starts with each and every one of us looking within, being accountable, and holding those who we love accountable too. All right, I got to give you some daily inspiration before we head out. This one's from my book, The Journey Within, page 47. Quote, "For every setback, there's a lesson, an opportunity, and possibly a new beginning. Keep going." End quote. Hope that does something for someone somewhere today. Folks, gotta roll out. But don't Don't forget to subscribe on our website, thedailyhour.com. Follow us on all of our social media channels to stay up to date with all that we have going on. Help us grow beyond the mic as we do our part to continue to improve our community. Thanks again to our partners, the BAC Group of Companies, HSBC Bermuda, Medical House, Lindo's, People's Pharmacy, and big love to Hot 1075 for ensuring that we can pump through the radio airwaves with these most important community conversations. As always, we appreciate you, we love you, and we thank you for making us part of your daily routine. If all goes well, we'll be back to do this again with you tomorrow. I'm Jamel Hartman. Please do make it a safe and a great day. We are is out. Peace.